This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
I don't know. Why would they sit there and watch us talk into microphones and look at each other and look at your faces that you give me sometimes?
And co-host Marney Winfield.
In situations like that, if you take the time to weigh the pros and cons of your involvement in something, I think this is across the board with a lot of things in life. You know, does it make sense for me in my world?
It is the 18th of December, 2021. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marney Winfield.
She's my wife. And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. How you doing, Marney?
I'm good.
Good. Get your nails done today.
I did some self-care.
Yeah, that's part of it. It makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. Now you feel sexy when you write stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like having your nails done. Mm-hmm. What does that really do for your soul? Like, I know, like when I get my hair cut or when I buy some new shoes or some new pants or a new shirt, I feel spiffy. You know, it makes me really feel good.
Yeah. Well, let's see. When I was young, I used to bite my nails. Okay. And like, I always was embarrassed of them. And that was not at the age when anyone would like get, you know, have fake nails on. And then it's expensive to get them done, you know? So, but it's one of those things where they're actually my natural nails. You know, I just get them painted and like, you know, shaped up and cleaned up. And it's nice, you know, when I'm talking, I use my hands a lot. So, you know, kind of my attention is drawn to them, especially with my big ring on.
Oh, yeah.
You got me. No, I'm just kidding, but sort of, not really. And, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, you know, I treat myself with it and it's nice.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know. I know that you love getting it done and you're always looking forward to it.
It's like pampering yourself.
But at the same time, it really gives you a boost. Like when you're in front of people talking and you're talking about sober living homes, because I know you do that sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's got to make you feel a little bit more confident. You know,
it does. That's exactly it.
As opposed to if you had some old scraggly nails and whatever, you wouldn't feel as confident. You know, it's just one little thing that can add to that.
For sure. And I'm pointing at paperwork a lot. And you're right. That's exactly it.
Because I know when I went to treatment the last time, I wore my normal clothes. And at that time, I was dressing in, you know, khakis and button-down dress shirts because I liked it. I went so long without dressing nice that when I started dressing nice, it just felt good. Mm-hmm. And I know there's one guy that works at the treatment center here in Traverse City where he started doing that too.
Yeah.
And it really does. And people sometimes be like, oh, you going to court today? Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but, you know, they'll say that, oh, what do you got? You know, because I like to dress nice. You know, that's what I started telling people. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
Well, if you want to look at it this way, it's like you want your outward self to represent your inward self. Mm-hmm. And so when you feel good about yourself inside, you know, you want your outside to look like you got it together.
Yeah. And when you feel good about your outside, it, to me, adds more to your inside.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You know, a lot of people, when I went to the treatment, they thought I'd worked there, you know, because I just would dress nice. And I'm like, no, I dress nicer than the people that work here. Thanks. But
yeah. And it doesn't have to be like big things. And yes, getting your nails done is expensive, but it's not like astronomically expensive. It's not like we're driving around Rolls Royces or, you know, pearl necklaces or anything like that. It's just, it's something that shows that I'm taking care of myself and like I am my recovery.
It's those little things that you can do now that you couldn't do before, you know. And I mean, not that you couldn't do them before, but you're too busy drunk.
Oh, yeah. No, that was not anywhere on any kind of list of mine. I don't think I was even capable of being able to make it to a nail salon. That bad.
Yeah. Because first of all, you were drunk, you know, and second of all, it costs money that we needed for alcohol. So all around, that's a lose-lose unless you did it early in the morning. But then again, you know, that's money. So if someone else is paying for it, maybe you do it probably. But than finding the time to be sober long enough.
No, not till I was out of rehab for quite a while and had my own job and making my own money and being able to figure out that if I could budget it and or not, you know, I wouldn't get it done if I couldn't afford it.
Right.
You know, so.
But like, I'm just thinking, like, for me to get my nails done or whatever, some equivalent, it'd have to be an event that I could have already went and got drunk at, or with, like, if a buddy of mine, and I'm just using the nails thing just because I can't think of anything else that I would have done. But if somebody would have said, hey, man, let's go get our nails done, I'm buying, I'd be like, sweet, let's go. But hey, let's grab lunch first, or, oh, yeah, let's watch the game first. Or, you know, there'd have been some drinking event in there to where even when I showed up drunk, oh, that's cool. We're both drunk. You know, oh, he's driving, sure, but, you know, whatever. I'm not driving, which is very dangerous when you ride with other people that are just as drunk as you.
Right.
Sure, you might not get the ticket, but you also might not have another day to live.
Right.
So be very careful with that. And that's something that I did way too many times, that, you know, trusting other people who were drunk, you know, to drive. And that's something I wouldn't do today. You know, especially if you're a father or married, and it doesn't matter really. I mean, you're somebody's son,
Right.
You know, somebody will miss you. So don't think that, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, especially if you're a dad, you know, you have kids out there and you don't want them growing up without a dad because dad decided, well, I'll jump in the car with Jeff, even though Jeff's hammered.
Well, and that's the thing too, is even us living sober, and for those of all of us that have children of our own, you know, when they're out in the world, anyone who's driving in traffic or is a passenger in traffic is at risk of being harmed by somebody who's made the wrong decision about getting behind the wheel. That's a scary thought, because I know so many times I did, and I know so many times people that I was with did. You know, and luckily nothing bad ever happened, you know, with any accidents, but
This is lucky.
Something to think about.
We were watching that movie yesterday, Swan Song. It's a new movie on Apple TV. And it had a part in it that really kind of like made me go, oh, what are you doing? Do you know what part I'm talking about?
Remind me.
Well, the guy went back to his house to switch places with the other guy. And he wanted to, because he knew that he was dying soon, and he wanted to have a beer with his son.
Oh, yeah.
Well, his son was like 3 or 4, maybe 5. Anyway, he pretends to have beer, and he pours apple juice in the cup, but they pretend to have beer together.
Yeah.
And then eat edamame or whatever.
Edamame.
Yeah. And I don't know. First, there's a lot of things wrong with that, but just if you have, the kid was acting like it's the first time he ever eaten that, but they had some in the fridge. So like, it's not the first time the kid's ever eaten it. And why I've never eaten that when I drink beer. Like, I drank beer professionally. Like, my beer was a chaser for whatever liquor I was drinking. But to sit down with your 5-year-old and pretend you're having beers, and I don't know, to me that's just like, ooh, like,
It was a little odd.
That's a way that, what did I think I commented like, oh, there you go, let's add another alcoholic to the list, you know, like, and not that my parents ever praised liquor. You know, I remember being really young, and it was like New Year's Eve, and I was like, oh, let me have a drink of the beer. And it was so gross. I just was like, ugh, why would you drink beer, you know? And I think a lot of kids have that same reaction. But I know I've had friends whose parents would be like, yeah, you know, just have 2, you know, when they were like 11 or 12, you know. And to me, that just shocks me today. And not that we can parent other people's children, but I don't want to make it seem like, you know, drinking is fine. But at the same time, there are people like my brother and my stepfather, people that I know, that can have a beer. Their edamame or whatever it's called. But they can have a beer at dinner and be fine. I just can't stop. You know, I get that buzz or that warm feeling, and then it's like, let's go. And I don't drink because it tastes good. I don't drink for fun. So it's a different thing. And I guess when we do have our children, it's kind of plural, then I guess I'll have to, when they cross that bridge, when I come to it.
Yeah.
There's no point of me thinking too hard about it, but I know that I'm not going to pretend that, oh yeah, here's just a beer. Let's just have a beer together, Mm-hmm. We can play banker and he can pretend to give me a loan.
I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was just last year that my brother and his wife sat us down and were talking to us about, I think it just came up in conversation, and then they ended up rolling into an entire discussion about like, hey, you guys have experience being down the road that is not a healthy one. What can we do as parents, to how do we raise our children in terms of letting them know that drugs and alcohol are dangerous, potentially. And we ended up, I think, talking for like 45 minutes or so about, and we're kind of like shooting in the dark too, because we don't, we haven't gotten there yet, but it was just really interesting it goes to show so many responsible people who aren't alcoholics might not know. They know it. Dorian knows it. My brother knows it all too well. He saw it firsthand, how damaging it all is, but it was way too late. And plus it wasn't his job to intervene. We were too close in age for him to make any sense of it or try to, pick it apart and put it back together. So he was kind of just like, I don't even know where she went wrong. Like, what if my daughter does that? Because I was, I was a responsible, smart kid, and a responsible, smart young adult until I wasn't. Mm-hmm. So that's scary. I think, honestly, scary to him because he's thinking he knows all what I had going for me when he knew me as, his younger sister when he was still around. And then all of a sudden it was just like, we don't know if she's going to make it another day. Like, that's scary. And he was very, very open about that, And I don't know if we had the right answers, but.
Yeah, it's something that it varies just like everybody else. But same time, when we both first started, and I mean, it's true about everybody. And it doesn't even matter what drug that they choose. But when they start, like, take a picture, from when they started, you could whip out a picture and be like, here you go. I look normal, don't I? Mm-hmm. And when people think of alcoholics or, junkies or meth heads, coke heads, whatever you want to call it, they just think of like the homeless person almost. And sure, it can get there, but not everybody gets there that fast. And some people turn it around, but the people that don't, like, when they started out, they were cool, good people, like, it's really hard to become an alcoholic if you're drunk. Well, I guess that's just kind of stupid what I just said, but it's hard to like become an alcoholic if you're broke. How are you going to get your liquor? It's not like the homeless guy just turns around one day and is like, I'm going to start drinking. And there's a lot of mental health issues that go into everything. And especially when it comes to a substance that kind of gives you relief or makes you feel like you've escaped the problems of the day. When you wake up, or maybe 6 hours later, whenever, the problem's still there. But just for that brief time, I think that's why I drank. It let me escape. It let me get away. Mm-hmm. And the next thing I knew, I was trapped. Yeah. And then I didn't know what to do. So it's tough, but
I think trauma is probably the number one.
Absolutely.
Reason why people turn to alcohol and drugs is some traumatic event. And it doesn't have to be like earth shattering. It doesn't have to be, in fact, probably the more harmful ones are the ones that are slow and steady, like living in an abusive home. And I mean, not even maybe physically abusive, verbally abusive or controlling, like you're going to get all A's or, you're a bad kid. And that kind of stress is not healthy for kids to go, I'm just using random examples, but that's a type of trauma. That's considered abuse. And, and then there are certain circumstances where it was a one-time thing that, since it's happened, maybe it happened at an age where they couldn't actually mentally deal with it and just kind of like swept it underneath the rug, and then it just festered, and then there was discomfort about who they were and what they were, and it's confusing. So
I think I'm going to start with just having that open communication with our children.
yeah.
And they're not going to tell me everything. They're not going to tell you everything. They're going to tell me stuff they don't tell you, vice versa. But just to have a chance for them to come to us and know that they can talk to us about anything. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. I think that's a good start. And, just being aware of what's going on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times when parents become distracted, and we could take advantage of that. I know I did when I was younger. I had siblings that were 10 years younger than me, 10 and 12, or maybe 10 and 13. But anyway, it was a chance from when they were busy with them for me just to kind of slide on out the door and not really know where I'm going. Hey, I'm just going here. It was very easy for me to kind of, slip away, and just being more aware and more, not aggressive, but just know what's going on to the best of my ability as a parent, I think would really help.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And if that means calling Jimmy's mom and dad to see if that's what they're really doing tonight, and I'll do that, not a big deal. But hopefully it'll turn out okay. And just praying about it, I think would help too.
Yeah.
But that's a good approach, I think. And then with your brother's situation, and the girls, and at least and he didn't have to talk to us about that.
No.
But the fact that he did, I think that just shows that he's already, and he probably has been thinking for years already now, we got a couple girls and they become teenagers, like, look out, So at least he's in the right mindset, and they're not stupid. They weren't innocent when they were younger, him and his wife,
Right.
like they were doing some things that they probably shouldn't have done. And they know that, but being aware and wanting to be there, I think. And I think they do a great job already of having that communication with their daughters. So,
Well, it's one of those things where thinking back to, I actually do remember my brother was present when my family had an intervention for me, and Carrie, his wife, was like 4 months pregnant with their first child. And he basically told me, like, if you stay in this, lifestyle, then we can't say we want you to really be part of our, daughter's life when she's born. And that hit me hard. But you know what, you guys? Not hard enough. It's one of those things where that's a huge thing to have laid in front of you. Like, but you can't do the, get sober because of, and then fill in the blank, and it's something outside of yourself. Because for me, that didn't work.
I never knew you had an intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find it easier to just go, well, F those people? Because I look at it like I would have done that. I'd have been like, if like brother or sister would have been like, you're not going to be a part, I'm like, F you then. You're the one who made a decision. I would turn around to be their problem. So when I would drink again, I would just be like, well, they don't want to be a part of my life anyway. So,
well, see, and this is why I'm afraid to share this on the podcast, but might as well do it, right? Because that's what we're all about. I was very bitter about this intervention, which I think majority of the people who they have interventions are like that. But the reason why I was extremely upset is because they lured me into this. Beside, they didn't say that this is the reason why I was going to where I was going. And it was at my Aunt Carolyn's house, who I very rarely visited. And I was off doing my own thing. Like, I was living my life. I wasn't asking anything from anybody. I wasn't asking for money. I wasn't asking for them to pay rent. I wasn't asking for them to pay for my car. I wasn't asking them to buy me food or, nothing. I was fully self-sufficient. I was totally not in a good place, with my disease. But it made me angry because they very rarely reached, at that point in my life, they didn't really reach out to me very often, if at all. It was just like through the grapevine. So all of a sudden, the people that were at the intervention, I had not seen for over 2 years. So it was like, oh, so now we're all getting together. And just because, my mom, who I talked to, who my father is an alcoholic, he's in recovery now, but she was burned really bad by my dad. And so she has a whole different arena of thought on, people being alcoholics. And so I was doomed, and I was going to end up like my father, and she wanted to put a stop to that. So she choreographed this whole get together of these family members who literally I had not seen in a million years. And I was like, you're going to come here and tell me about how much you care about me? Do you even remember me at all? Cousins I didn't even know, barely. It was really weird. But not everything goes that way. And not saying their heart wasn't in the right place. It totally was. And did I need one? Abso-friggin-lutely.
Yeah.
But was it did I soak it all in at that point? This is real? Basically, I was like, why are you coming to me now? Why not happy birthday when it was my birthday? None of y'all cared then.
To me, it seems like it would have been putting you on the defensive. Or me. I'm just, if there would have been an intervention. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't know if they work or not. I would say probably a majority of them do not work. But when it comes to that point, when someone's trying to get through to their loved one, I guess it makes a point. You remember it. But it seems like not saying right. I'm sorry I interrupted. There's not really a right way. But it just seems like you're telling the person how bad they are and, oh, we love you and you're going to die because, the way you're living your life and blah, blah, blah. It seems like there's a better way to approach that instead of putting you on blast in front of your whole family. If your whole family knows you're an alcoholic, okay, cool, they know. But they don't need to come, especially the ones, like you said, you haven't even seen in years, and to be sitting around telling you that, hey, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that because you're a bad person. I would like to explain to them how addiction works, and maybe then they would rethink about, and maybe that's what it is. You sit down with them and talk about addiction, and read some stuff with them, like my mom would just say, hey, watch this video on this guy, it's a really good video. And he talks about some struggles and he overcame them. All right, I'll watch it. And I never would, something about the way it was presented. I didn't want to be the alcoholic guy, and I'll stop when I want to, I was still in that kind of mode and I wasn't really learning about addiction. And she, my mom or any other family member would have came and just said, hey man, I'm worried about you. Do you know how addiction works? Do you even know when you were trapped? How does that make you feel? Why do you drink? That I think would have been a way better approach than, if somebody would have sat me down and had an intervention.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, it's not that their message wasn't most out of love, like I said, but I think for me, how I think of people, you're just one person and if you've already gotten to that spot, that things aren't going the way they probably should be going.
Right.
You're not going to stand there and be like, no, life is perfect and I don't have a drinking problem. If it's gotten that bad that all of these people have decided to get together, but that's bombarding. That's bombarding. And you're just one person and they're like many people. And that, in my opinion, is a terrible way to address an issue with someone. If I would say in hindsight, if anything could be, and maybe nothing could have been said to me at that point in my life that would have changed anything. I have no idea. But if the message would have been brought to me individually by somebody who was close to me, who had experienced me and could, sit down and talk about how scary, X, Y, or Z was, and go into more like what you were talking about, things like that, then I think it would have been more effective, and because the last thing that you want to do is put somebody who has an issue with addiction on the defensive, because we will go immediately there and we will want to run out the door and find the nearest liquor store.
Yeah, I would have been thinking the whole time, would you just shut up? I got till midnight to get to this liquor store, and I'm gonna drink tonight, and I'm gonna forget you people. I don't even like most of you people. I don't even care. And the dude just said he's not gonna be a part of my life. All right, you just made it easier for me. I'll never call you again. I mean, it just would have made me. It would have left me feeling bitter on the defensive. When really, I just needed to learn more about the addiction and how it's okay to ask for help. And if I wanted help, here's what we could do, or maybe just some different things to try. Maybe talk to a therapist. I think those are way better options than bombarding somebody with, we're going to get the whole family here and we're going to tell you how we feel about you and how we used to love you and now we don't want anything to do with you because you drink or because you use meth. I think that show Intervention, I think, did a disservice to a lot of people. But like your mom, she did it out of, it was a good thing she was thinking, and she wanted her daughter back. But you had to go down whatever road you had to go down. And until you could figure it out yourself, then, there's really no hope. And there might have been some interventions that have worked. I don't know. I know I watched one with Travis Meeks. He is the lead singer of Days of the New. And I actually had a chance to meet him. And I got off the bus not wanting his autograph. I was like, never mind. I'm good on that. He was so messed up. And I was just like, wow, never touching that hard stuff. As I step off the bus, I have like airplane bottles, and I think I had a half pint in my pants. It was like some radio station event, but it was like a concert, and I was drinking the whole day. Here I am like, oh, I'm better than that guy. I was like, wait, what? Couldn't even go to an event without drinking. But no, man, I had to drink for everything. But I didn't associate the two. I didn't associate addiction with it. I think that's the big way and the proper way to kind of look at all of it. It's not really the drug that they're on. It's addiction. Some people gamble. And that's another thing. Some people have sex addictions that if people are coming at you, I would have been sitting there going, okay, that dude who's yelling at me right now or talking to me saying he's never going to call me again, he's got a sex addiction. Like I'm going to bring that up. Or, Aunt Susie over there, oh, she's going to tell me about this and that. Well, she lost her car because she's gambling addict, Oh, let me bring that up. I would have fired shots right back at him. And that's normally what people do when you're accused of something or attacked. You attack right back.
I just shut down.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I just shut down and nodded my head and just waited for it to all be done. And then just kind of sulked and left and went on my way. And they're like, do you want to? Nope. Bye.
Yeah, there was one time where my mom, and I'm sure we talked about it with you before, but and it was the time my stepdad like grabbed me and threw me up against the stove. I just wanted to leave, but I was really intoxicated. And my little brother grabbed my keys and anyway, ended up on the couch with me going, look, I know I have a problem. And I was just kind of feeding them, I think, what they wanted to hear. Did I mean some of it? Probably, but I was really drunk. But I knew I wasn't trying to change nothing.
Right, but don't tell me at that moment that you didn't totally know that you had an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the words came out of your mouth for the first time?
Probably not the first time. I had no intentions of changing or anything.
Yeah.
It just was feeding them.
That's kind of where I was at.
They wanted to hear kind of, and yeah. So you run a risk of that. I think there's more negatives than are positives that can come out of an intervention. And if you've been a part of an intervention, feel free.
Yeah, if you had one that worked.
Yeah, reach out. Or if you had one that went really bad, you want to...
Might as well. We can talk about it.
Tell people what not to do.
Yeah.
We should have an interventionist person on.
Interventions on interventions.
No, we should have somebody on who does interventions, and then we could like put them on the defensive.
Huh.
I don't have a zinger. I need a zinger sound effect. No, just to see like, are we just not setting them up right in our heads? Like what's like? I think I should call one and have one on.
I bet you if you had somebody who had like written a book about them, there's a way that you can actually, he or she could actually explain in their own words and have it make more sense than what we're saying, you know?
Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe. Or maybe we've hit that nail on the head.
Maybe.
It's happened before.
I feel kind of bad. I feel like I'm dogging the whole. Because
that's what I'm saying. That's
whatever,
why we'll have one on.
Whatever works. If it works, that's friggin' amazing.
Yeah, but if it doesn't work, you risk you take the chance of risking like sending them further. Yeah, and then distancing even more and feeling even worse about themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's what happened with me, but.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, I think it's a great idea.
All right, so we'll have one on. Tomorrow I'm supposed to have Preston on, like for real this time.
Okay.
I know, you roll your eyes again. And you need to do, because I got this webcam and we've done, I think, 2. And I wanted to do it every Saturday. Of course, then I get sick again and all this other stuff, but.
Let's do it next Saturday.
Okay.
Oh, we're not going to be here next Saturday.
No, but we can still bring the little, whatever.
We won't be able to have the fun studio. That looks so amazing.
We won't have the fun studio, but we could still do.
And plus our mics are worse.
No, we'll bring the good ones.
Okay.
They're just big. I got 2 things to carry this stuff now, so.
It's true.
Yeah, 2 briefcases. No, they're not briefcases. What would you call them? A mail bag?
They're like computer bags.
Mail carrier bag? What are they called? Luggage? No, I don't. Either way, we can bring microphones. So we'll see what we can do. But we do really need to start doing
Sure.
like broadcast stuff on the YouTube and videos, because I guess people like to see that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Again, I don't
Even
know.
though all we're doing is just sitting here talking to each other.
Yeah. They want to make sure that we're really sitting here talking to each other. Or they want to see you roll your eyes at me.
Oh, you're going to put pants on?
I don't need pants on.
Okay.
I do this for you. This is the look you like.
Just screams comfort.
Yes.
At home.
Because I know if you see me and I'm comfortable, you feel comfortable. And then you can open up all your interventions.
Wow, you're good. You are good.
It's glad we hit our 1-year anniversary of being married before I knew you had an intervention.
I have told you that before.
I'm glad this comfortable look makes you comfortable enough.
I have told you that before, but that's okay that you don't remember.
Thank you, though, for listening to us tonight.
Yeah.
Talk about interventions and whatever else we talked about. But thanks. Thanks again for listening. And I stayed sober one more day.
So did I.
So I'm one day closer to 4 years, and hopefully you're one day closer to your next day. Thanks, 217recovery.com for more info. If you'd like to donate, feel free. You can donate on our website and on our app, which is available in the Apple and the Google Play Store.
Night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Don't forget to check out our special episodes found only on the 217 Recovery app.